All right, welcome into the Daily Fix, a little football Friday, a little red Friday as the Chiefs and the rest of the NFL get going on week 8. The Chiefs look to go to 7-0, the only undefeated team in this piece. Hey, did Show and BK drop today? That dropped today?
Yeah.
Nick Steve, there you go. Yeah, Show and BK dropped today, so check that out. As me and Brandon Conley got it going today. As always, you can find everything on Foolish Club Media. By the way, first things first. Um, hey, appreciate however you're taking this in, whether that's on Twitter or YouTube. We appreciate you, or however you're taking us in. One thing I do need you to do, as we are trying to grow this puppy, is head to our Foolish Club Media channel on YouTube. Like and subscribe on YouTube, our Foolish Club Media channel. And remember, if you do not do so, you're preventing my 3 children from eating. Again, hey, there's Steve Serta in the little box as he rightfully belongs. I'm Ron Hughley. Again, this is the Daily Fix. Every single day, Monday through Friday at 12 Central Time. So come hang out with us and tell others to come hang out with us. Not going to hold you too long. Um, I tell you, and Steve probably knows this story over the years why I just um why I could never be a coach. And something I think was not unlike to question Andy Reid. I mean, he's the best offensive mind since Bill Walsh, and is pushing being the potentially best coach that I've ever seen. But I think he needs to slow down on a little something, and we'll get to that. But Steve, give me about 2 minutes as they go on the road to take on the Raiders. I'm not going to lie to you, Steve. Me and you, I think as we did show in BK last night, like I ain't gonna try to push you. I'm not gonna try to push you on no trap game stuff. I'm not gonna push you on no. Look out! What the? No, man, that's Desmond Ritter lining up over there. That's a Raiders team that feels like they are ready to. They'll be ready to shut it down 10-0. They'd be ready to. I mean, that feels like a team that is going down and going down quick. Now, I do think they'll be a little amped to start because it is the Chiefs, but you get them down, they'll shut it down. So I'm not going to try to push you and tell you be worried. It's Raider week. No, I ain't going to do that to you. But what I am really intrigued to see is one, how much DeAndre Hopkins actually plays. We do see he'll play. He's rocking number 8. We'll see. We do see he'll make the triple play. How much he plays, but then I want to see how much he affects others around him. Like, what does his presence affect? Does his presence, which I'm hoping, affect Travis Kelce and maybe slow coverage off of Travis Kelce? Does his presence affect Xavier Worthy? Does Xavier Worthy and what those two do together affect each other? I am really, because teams could kind of play differently with, hey, Juju's out here, hey, Sky Moore's out here, hey, Justin Watson's out here. Like DeAndre Hopkins, like, I mean, he's a problem where people are going to look at coverage. And I would imagine probably the best corner on teams are going to be looking at him. So I am really intrigued to see the amount of snaps, which I'm sure are limited, the amount of snaps he's out there and how his presence affects others. And the guy I'm eyeing is Kelce, because that's somebody you want to get going. I understand maybe there's a playoff Kelce, Steve, but I mean, the 4 for 17, like we've seen that a little too damn much. Like I
Yeah.
want to see things maybe potentially open up. And does DeAndre's presence help him?
It is interesting because even like a Juju Smith-Schuster coming in and having a monster game a couple weeks ago and then immediately getting hurt, like he doesn't command the respect and attention that a
No.
DeAndre Hopkins does. Like day one, any opposing team that you're going against, they know who DeAndre Hopkins is. They know the attention that he needs to command. So you would think that defensively, when you're trying to get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs, that would mean like, hey, we know about Kelce, but we also got to worry about this DeAndre Hopkins guy in a way that other teams didn't probably feel that way at this point with Juju Smith-Schuster. So it seems like it would reasonably free Kelce up a little bit more, at least.
Because what we've seen, Steve, is everybody has been able to feed off of Kelce. Like everybody has been able. We got Juju here. I would tell you that the Saints game where Juju lost it, went off. I think a lot of that had to do with the effect that Kelce has. I think a lot of what Rashid Rice has been able to do, in part, not just himself, but in part, the effect of how much people are paying attention to Kelce. I wonder, does that kind of lighten that a bit, and that does some of that go towards Hopkins, because you can see them being maybe not in the same part of the field as much, but in the same kind of distance, from the snap of the ball of the field. It's not going to be go routes, I don't think. Maybe some fades. We'll see how that happens. All right. Listen, I don't like to be in the business of telling the greatest offensive mind and the guy who is a 3-time champion and a guy who has been the best coach in football for a long time. Even I'd say some of those tail end years that Brady was in New England, I still think at that point he was the best coach in football over Belichick, and definitely is now. But Steve, I think they might want to slow down a little bit on Kareem Hunt. Just a little bit on Kareem Hunt in the touches. I understand how this team has kind of shifted in running the ball, but for me, this can be a real thing, Steve, if Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco get a chance to play together and they're both healthy and on the field together. But I am concerned at the rate in which he is touching the ball, how he's getting hit, how often he's getting hit, and how many times and where he's running the ball, that Kareem Hunt might not make it to the point where Isaiah Pacheco is healthy again. He's got basically 30 touches against the Saints, 25 touches against the Niners, running right up the middle, and you see the hits he's taken and the blows he's delivering, and he's had some injury things in the past. I really love what he's doing, and I know the Great White Hope scares folks at times. I know Samaje Perine scares folks at times, and I've told you right now I don't need to see Clyde, but I just to me, Steve, I feel better about Kareem at the 15 to 20 touch range as opposed to the 25 to 30 touch range, which he has been. Hell, his first game back with the team, he had 15 carries against the Chargers. So to me, I just think scaling back that load on Kareem Hunt is something I think they should pay attention to.
I don't know if they can afford to right now. I don't disagree, because we don't know exactly when Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back and healthy. And yeah, it seems like that would be a great backfield with him and Kareem Hunt at this point. But the offense is so dependent on the positive rushing attack right now. And maybe Hopkins will help all of this. Maybe that will help the passing game in general. But that the entire Chiefs offense is kind of through their ground game right now. And I don't want Carson Steele getting 10 touches a game with his fumbling issues. Maybe Samaje Perine is more in the mix, but at this point, it's just they trust Kareem Hunt. They trust giving him a big workload, and he's the focal point of the offense at this point in the season.
Yeah, I know that the Carson Steele fumbling thing is a scary thing. I know what he's got, 2 or 3 fumbles. But him and Perine get positive yardage. I understand the fumbling thing, but him and Perine get positive yardage. To me, for them to take 7 of those touches away, and some of those aren't just coming, he's getting in the passing game too, Steve, where he is getting hits where I think Perine can do things. So for me, I think you're flirting with fire, Steve, if we're going to be operating the 25 to 30 touch range for him, especially a game like this. You got Patrick Mahomes and find other ways to get it. And yes, I think you're going to have to trust Steele and Perine a little bit more, because when Steele isn't fumbling, his runs are looking similar to Kareem Hunt. He's physical. You trusted him on a 3rd and 1 where he ran and got tough yards. I think you got to give me 3 more to him or 3 more Perine. Just the dream to me of Kareem and Isaiah Pacheco the most physical backfield maybe in NFL history. Okay, that's maybe a little stretch, but at least in the last 10, 15 years, like I want to see that. And I get concerned Kareem won't make it at the rate of the hits in the amount of times he's touching it. All right. Last night, the Vikings, which I'm sure we're about to hear. I still think the Vikings are for real, Steve. I think we're about to hear a lot of, they're fraudulent. This is what you all like to do. People are waiting to get Sam Darnold now. And I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a truster of Sam Darnold, but I think they're a good football team, really good football team, and a contender. But, Steve, last night, that's why I couldn't be a coach. There was just a blatant face mask. I mean, in the end zone, now not only did it take the ball away, but they got points. They got a safety. And I mean, when you know it's blatant is when the pass rusher comes around the corner and then just yanks and turns Sam Darnold's head. And when he gets him down on the ground, he immediately grabs his helmet and just, I messed up. I screwed up. There's no celebration. There was no crawl on the ground. There was nobody celebrating with him. There was no rest in peace to Kembe Mutombo. There was no swing like Neil Smith. There was, I screwed up. No, you didn't. You got a safety because the refs didn't see it. Steve, this is why I can't coach, because I would have been fined, drug off the field, because I'm taking all the balls that I can find, and I'm taking a football and I'm sitting down on the 5-yard line, or to me, I'm grabbing the ball and I'm walking off that 15-yard penalty where it should have been, and I'm sitting there, and we are not getting play started until it's rectified. We got too many cameras. I just watched Texas, Georgia last week, them call a pass interference, and then sit down there and take the time as people were throwing stuff on the field and they were cleaning it up, and they start looking at the big board and seeing, wow, that's an awful call. That was not pass interference at all. And then they came back 15 minutes later and said, hey, after taking a discussion among the officials, there was no pass interference there. We changed the call. They should have changed the call. That's got to be reviewable. There's got to be somebody up top that says, hey, guys, that's a blatant face mask. If we can review everything, there's got to be a blatant face mask, guys. We can't end the game on that play and give them 2 points. I'm telling you, if I were Kevin O'Connell, I would have set my fat ass right down on that 10, 15-yard line, and we are not restoring play. I would lay down. I would do it. I'd get my whole team to hook arms, and we'd sit there, and the game's not getting going. You're going to have to forfeit us this game. Ridiculous.
Yeah. I do think the Vikings are still for real, and I think they're a really good team. I think the Rams are totally different offensively when Puka and Cooper Kupp are in the game.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a tough matchup, but also, like, somebody brought this up on Twitter, and it was a good point, is that player who got the face mask is almost 100% going to be fined by the NFL for it. but they can't review and call a penalty that is a deciding play in the game. It's just unbelievable at this point that, like, there's no accountability from the NFL and the referees, and this happens on a weekly basis in the most popular sport and the most well-resourced sport in the country. It's absolutely insane.
I saw where multiple officials were standing, Steve. It is unbelievable that no one saw it. It's just there's a guy standing right, the back judge, right, or the guy right behind. These 2 officials standing behind the quarterback, and he's standing at the back of the end zone. And he's there to see the twist of the head. I mean, the reaction of the player, at least just drop the flag and just say, hey, man, maybe we'll talk about it. And then at that point up top, they could have given official assistance. But my God, ridiculous. Hi, Mom. And Courtney.